Hello, I'm Lloyd Bonson and welcome to round 3 of the 2011 Competition Car Insurance Ford Fiesta Championship. Today we're at Donington Park and we're going to be watching the Class C Fiesta STs in action. Richard will go through the current championship standings.
David Grady leads the championship with 4 wins from 4 races so far. Ed Cockle in second and younger brother Harry in third. Ashley Sutton fourth, ahead of Matthew Foley and Matthew Parr. They're tied in 5th position. 6th, 7th position in the championship, Lee Napolitano from Jason Cooper. Then it's Mike Bushell. Ian Wilson leads the category for older drivers ahead of David Abbott. Andrew Wilmot is 12th overall. Pole position today, though, once again going to David Grady, who shut out pole position for, as we said in the last programme, for well over a year now, and he's done it again today. So Grady on pole position. Alongside him on the front row of the grid is Jason Cooper. Here's confirmation of the grid. Andrew Wilmot third, Matt Parr in fourth, then it's Nick Bowers and Harry Cockle down in 6th. Mike Bushell 7th with Ed Cockle, then Matt Foley and Ian Wilson on row 5. Steve Papworth and Lee Napolitano row 6. 7th row, Nick Pope and Ian Fletcher, then it's Rex Knight and Terence Upton, David Abbott and Graham Field on row 9. Grid completed by Joanne Eason, Al Daly, Stuart Wilson, Chris Tomazis and Ewan Wilson in car 23. Donington Circuit closed sadly for so long whilst the debacle, which was the attempted coup for the British Grand Prix, took place, but 5-second ball going out. Watch for the 4 lights on the gantry. Once they go on, there'll be an undisclosed amount of time that they'll be on for before the cars get away on, as you can see, a slight decline down into Redgate Corner for the first time. Looks like everybody's away well. 23 cars. It's superb for championship coordinators. Not so good when they're all evenly matched going. Bit of body contact there. Not so good when they're going into Redgate, this many cars. Let's hope that they all survive. All the lead bunch certainly round. A couple of cars going off onto the grass. But everybody... Well, no, nobody facing the wrong way, which is very good indeed. And it's David Grady that leads them through Hollywood down into the Crane of Curves for the first time. There's Jason Cooper, who has gone back from 2nd to 4th position. Behind him, I think Andrew Wilmot and certainly Nick Bowers. Matthew Foley there in the 42 car, therefore it is Andrew Wilmot, isn't it, in the blue car, the first of the blue cars, running in 5th position at the moment. We've got, look at that, fantastic first lap from Harry Cockle, who has got up into 3rd place and challenging Matt Foley for 2nd. So 3 goes on the inside. Harry Cockle up into 2nd place. Jason Cooper back up into 3rd. Then it's Andrew Wilmot in the 21 car going ahead of Matt Parr. So Matt Parr started well but drops back just a little bit as they come towards the closing stages of the first lap. But David Grady continuing as he left off at Snetterton. We had the 2S circuits, Silverstone and Snetterton, for the first 2 events of the season. And this is the onboard view from lady racer Joanne Eason in the WDE prepared car. Looks down the inside of Steve Papworth. A little bit of contact there. David Abbott in front of her. A couple of spinners on the exit of the Fogarty S's. Through goes Ewan Wilson in red in 15, but David Grady completes the first lap. A little bit of body work goes for a final Burton into shards across the track. And I've got to say, relatively danger-free first lap, aside from the problems that we had there coming into the Fogarty S's at the end of lap 1. But David Grady is clear now, and Harry Cockle looks for the lead as they go into the old hairpin. Harry Cockle, great manoeuvre from him, and he goes into lead position. Superb stuff from him, and Jason Cooper's coming up as well. David Grady looks very much out of sorts on this lap. Now, is it a mechanical problem? Is it that the conditions are starting to catch him out? Through goes Jason Cooper into 3rd place, and David Grady, the championship leader, is down to 3rd. You can see the moisture on the camera lens. Up in towards McLean's corner. Matt Parr is still there in 4th place, the white 33 car. Matt Parr, who raced Formula Ford with the Russell and David Grady Unitech team last year. This is the view from Ed Cockle's car. Now, Ed started 8th on the grid, and if you follow him on Twitter, he said that he's going to be coming through like a bad curry, which is a great quote, and Ed, a good guy to follow. Several of the guys have Twitter accounts, and you can keep up to date with them on race weekends through following them. And Ed, of course, one of the Class A and B champions last year. Somebody going for a little bit of a trip off to the infield there, but recovers Harry Cockle it is that leads from Jason Cooper, David Grady, Matt Foley. Then it's the 21 car, Andrew Wilmot. 24 there is Lee Napolitano. There's Ed Cockle in 29. So all good at the moment, and now we get into the stage of the race where things start to settle down a little bit. This is Ian Wilson, the man who leads the category for the older drivers, and he's already up challenging Lee Napolitano. Ian Wilson in one of the WDE cars, about to pass his teammate through the inside. Now this is the view from Lee Napolitano. He's going to try and return the favour. Looks up the inside. Wilson, I think, has gone a little bit wide. And Napolitano onto the Dunlop straight. We can see Ed Cockle up front. But Napolitano in 24, the youngster from Lingfield in Surrey, returns the favour. Big name in karting, Lee Napolitano. Came into the championship last year. Very neatly over the curbs. Out he goes, and he is safe and well, recapturing that position from Ian Wilson. Those cars dicing at the back of this gaggle, that trio, with the blue 21 car there of Adrian Wilmot, who's gone back since the first lap. So Adrian Wilmot has had a problem and dropped back through the order a little bit. Ed Cockle down behind him. Nick Bowers, though, in green, now past Matt Foley. So Nick Bowers making progress. Beg your pardon, it's not Matt Foley, it's the green stripe car, which is Mike Bushell. There is Ed Cockle in car number 29, being challenged by Andrew Wilmot in 21. Harry Cockle, meanwhile, continues to pull away. Interestingly, Grady hasn't lost any ground on Jason Cooper since that pass that we saw on lap 2. Matt Foley looking pretty good as well in the mix in 4th position, car number 33. Matt, as we said, getting to grips with saloon car racing after racing Formula Ford. Also did quite a bit of karting, 23 years of age, from Horsham in Sussex. And he's closing up on the lead trio. This has been a big change for him moving over into saloon car racing. As we look at Ed Cockle in car number 29, trying to work his way through the pack. And Lee Napolitano will be the next target for Ed Cockle, but the leader is still Harry Cockle, his brother. So it's the younger brother in 28, car number 28 out front. Jason Cooper coming under pressure from David Grady now. So David Grady seems to be winding things up. He's got Matt Foley behind him. Then it's Nick Bowers, followed by Mike Bushell. Then Ed Cockle. So this trio battling it out for second position. Harry Cockle will be absolutely thrilled to be back where he was last season, the front of the pack. And this is we've seen the promise this year of him challenging certainly at Snetterton, and really round one at Silverstone was a David Grady benefit. The races at Snetterton being punctuated by safety cars and red flags, which didn't help the chasing pack, but we're really seeing the championship come alive here with some surprises in qualifying. The lights are on Harry Cockle's car. Still Jason Cooper in second position. Third place David Grady. Out of Coppice, Nick Bowers looks like he's closing in. The green car in 5th position, and this is the view. You can see Nick Bowers in front. The green and white car directly in front of us is Mike Bushell, and Ed Cockle looks like he's starting an easy move here, an early move. Come on, he said, let's go. Let's try and pass those cars in front. That was the view from Mike Bushell's car. These two drivers, teammates. No, they're not teammates, are they? HE Motorsport car, Unfield Motorsports. Thinking about the livery there, being the stripes over the roof, but of course WDE Mike Bushell. Don't think Ed Cockle's going to be overly pleased about the contact as they came out of the chicane. And we'll see whether Mike can follow Ed. You can see how hard he's trying as they go into Redgate Corner, through Hollywood, down through the Craner curves once again. The umbrellas on the outside, the spectator umbrellas, telling us that conditions not particularly ideal. Harry Cockle's got his windscreen wipers on, but Matt Foley is now coming up to challenge David Grady. So let's keep our eyes on Foley, who's closed in. This is the view this is the view forwards towards Andrew Wilmot's car. Lee Napolitano over the curbs there. Wilmot over the curbs. Napolitano looking at the inside as they go through Schwab's corner, and Andrew Wilmot squeezes him out. He's not going to let him through. But Wilmot still running wide up into McLean's. Napolitano goes through on the inside. Lee Napolitano's through, bags another position courtesy of Andrew Wilmot. Down towards Coppice Corner he goes. And let's keep our eyes peeled either side to see whether Andrew Wilmot's going to return the favour. Wilmot comes from Dartford in Kent, so I'll be looking forward to Brands Hatch in a few weeks' time. That's the next round of the championship, but Harry Cockle is still out front. Jason Cooper starting to put pressure on him in 35. A gap back now to Matt Parr, who's got into third place. Matt Parr in third. Fourth is David Grady, who's gone back from first on the grid. Then it's Nick Bowers, he's closing in. And I rather fancy Ed Cockle might be closing in too. Down to Redgate Corner once again. And Grady looking down the inside of Matthew Parr. Is he going to get that done? No, he doesn't. Grady stays in fourth position. Nick Bowers closing in though. Grady's got to be mindful he might lose another place. I was thinking in the early stages that the second position, or indeed a podium, wouldn't be a disaster for David Grady with 4 straight wins in the championship. I think as long as he finishes both races, he's likely to go away still with the championship lead. As Matt Parr makes a mistake, back onto the podium surely. Will now go David Grady because Parr will have lost momentum. Through he goes, he's got a bit of a wobble on as well. Is he going to lose fifth position? Through comes Grady in third. Fourth position now, Nick Bowers. And Ed Cockle's closing up as well.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keane, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
Harry Cockle still leads. Jason Cooper in second position. David Grady third. Then it's Nick Bowers. Let's see whether Cockle can hang on to it. He's certainly soaking up the pressure at the moment. Cooper goes wide, trying to get a bit more momentum. Nick Bowers goes wide too. So too the rest of them. If they get all 4 wheels over those curbs, the clerk of the course will have something to say after the race, because you're allowed 2 wheels on the curb. 4 wheels over the curb, very definitely not allowed, as Harry Cockle makes a mistake. Goes wide into the old hairpin and through goes Jason Cooper into the lead. Cockle down to second. He's on the dirt, that's going to slow him up, and let's see whether David Grady is closing up. Yes, he is. Has Grady got enough momentum to come through into second as they go into Schwantz, now into McLean's? No, he hasn't. Cockle's got to try and fight back, but first he needs to defend David Grady. Nick Bowers still there in fourth position, so Jason Cooper now takes the lead. Our third different leader in this race. This is superb stuff from the competition car insurance Ford Fiestas. And Jason Cooper, and Cockle makes another mistake, goes wide as they exit Coppice. Through goes Grady, through goes Bowers. It looks like Ed Cockle's going to come through as well. So the older brother coming through. There's been a lot of talk in the paddock about who is the quicker driver of the 2 Cockle brothers. I've got to say, as far as I'm concerned, they're probably both as good as each other. That was probably backed up with the first 2 rounds results that we saw. But this is now just to take a wee breather, because we've got Jason Cooper leading, David Grady now back up to second, Nick Bowers looking good in third place. Then it's Ed Cockle coming under pressure from car number 4, Mike Bushell. Bushell looking down the inside. Then it's Matt Parr. Matt Parr. Then it's Harry Cockle trying to recover. This is a view from Harry Cockle's car. So Matt Parr in front of him. And Harry Cockle is going to be absolutely disappointed losing the lead. Finds himself back down in the mix. He's got some quality drivers ahead of him. We've got some really good driving talent in the championship this year. Wide goes Bushell. Wide goes Ed Cockle. And up the inside goes Harry. The Cockle brothers swapping positions like nobody business. There is the view of Harry Cockle going back through, following Matt Parr. So Matt Parr makes up a couple of positions. Harry Cockle diving down the inside of Parr into McLean's corner. Oh, a little bit of body rubbing there from Parr. A little tap from Ed Cockle as well. Certainly not intentional. That's the sort of thing you get in close quarter saloon car racing. Don't think there'll be any finger pointing in the paddock afterwards about that. And everybody comes out of it unscathed, which is the important thing. And Ed Cockle still giving chase. Matt Parr in front of him down what was the exhibition straight. And Jason Cooper still leads this one from David Grady in second position. Third place is Nick Bowers. And Nick Bowers lapping very, very quickly indeed, but not as quick as Ed Cockle, who's got the fastest lap. Ed Cockle, 1 minute 27.473, and he's had a lot of work to do to climb from 8th on the grid. And all he's got to show for it so far is 6th position, with Mike Bushell behind him, Matt Parr in front of him. You can see Cockle using all the road, using all his racecraft to try and eke that extra 10th out, to try and get some momentum under his belt to pass Matt Parr. Problem there for Stuart Wilson in car number 39. The leaders were catching up with the back markers, and Stuart Wilson taking a spin. He will rejoin. And that's Ewan Wilson in the red car about to be lapped as well. So Ewan moves out of the way. I think he'll go wide here at McLean's, which he does. Through goes Grady, through goes Bowers in 3rd place. Harry Cockle still there in 4th position. Goes a little bit wide, and off goes Matt Parr. Matt Parr's off well on the grass. Looks like he's heading down to East Midlands Airport there. Rejoins in front of Mike Bushell. He hasn't lost too much time. Through goes Ed Cockle past Ewan Wilson. So Ed Cockle on his way. And as we look down, Matt Foley still in the mix as well. As Jason Cooper starts to, well, I think he's building a lead here over David Grady. He seems to be getting away, maybe a little bit happier with the wet conditions. Nick Bowers certainly happy in the wet. He's in 3rd place. Down the Wheatcroft straight they come. And Jason Cooper, as the clock ticks towards the 20-minute limit on this race. David Grady 2nd, Nick Bowers 3rd. Harry Cockle back on the offensive in 4th position. It's his brother Ed in 5th position. 6th position, we've got to change because Mike Bushell looks up the inside of Matt Parr. A bit of body contact there. Parr gets forced off onto the dirt. On board with Harry Cockle. So this is the 4th position car. Down through the crane of curves. Oh, he's got a problem. He's got a problem. He's over the grass. He's a passenger now. It's Harry Cockle. Now, is he going to be able to rejoin? Now, was that a failure on the car, a tyre failure? He's backwards, bang, into the barrier. That was a nasty looking, and look at the back end of the car. That's definitely out of the race. Definitely, I think, well, that's going to be out for race 2. Here's what happens. Watch him on the steering wheel. Now, is that a puncture? Because he's been smooth as silk through there all day, across the grass. The main thing is that, thankfully, nobody hits him there, but there's the wallop. The onboard camera takes a big hit and ends up upside down. So Harry Cockle, very sadly out of the race. Sadly for us, because he was starting to challenge Nick Bowers. Now Steve Patworth's the car in front here. He's a back marker. Jason Cooper, Nick Bowers challenging for 2nd position off David Grady. Bowers having a look. Here is Nick Bowers then in 3rd position, chasing down David Grady, the Unitech driver on his home circuit, comes from Leicester. And he won't be too disconcerted with 2nd position. He'll probably regroup and have a good go in race 2. Past Steve Patworth's car. Patworth keeping to the inside line as they come on the run down into the old hairpin. And David Grady, 2nd position. Not a bad set of results for him so far this year. 4 wins, 1 second place if this stays the way it is. Jason Cooper pulling away at ease. Then it's Nick Bowers in 3rd place. This is going to be his first podium of the season. Great to see different names coming up onto the podium. Bowers will be absolutely delighted with that. Nick, the man who comes from Stafford. We're going back and looking at Mike Bushell, car number 4. And Matt Parr still trying to close down on him. But here's Nick Bowers again. Down the Dunlop straight. Little bits of moisture still being flicked up on circuit. The weather's fluctuated a little bit over the course of this 20 minutes. Into the chicane they go. Bowers very neat and tidy, so too was Grady. A couple of back marking cars in front, Terence Upton and Graham Field. But Jason Cooper onto the last lap here at Donington Park, the 5th race of the season, and the 35 car. He's had a difficult set of results so far, hasn't had the luck that many of the other drivers have had, and that seems to have finally turned around. He scored points in all the races so far, but it does look like he is now going to add maximum points for the race win for this one. David Grady in 2nd, he'll be chuffed with that. Bowers in 3rd place. They've safely negotiated the old hairpin for the last time. Grady, the Unitech car, another ex-Formula Ford racer. His dad, Russell Grady, noted Ford racer of some time. and enjoyed many a race watching him. Jason Cooper, youngster, comes from Chippenham, started off in karting at Castle Combe Circuit, then raced in the Castle Combe Saloon Championship, and switching from that from a regional championship into this national championship for the Fiestas, and he is on his way to a win. Cooper down the straight for the last time. He's got probably one of the trickiest corners, the trickiest last corners in UK motorsport, which is the Fogarty S's. This is the third place man, Nick Bowers, now trying to close up on Grady. I think he knows that he's not going to be able to do it. You can see behind him it's Ed Cockle in fourth position, but it's the checkered flag for Jason Cooper. David Grady takes second place, Nick Bowers third, Ed Cockle fourth from Mike Bushell. Confirmation of the result then. Jason Cooper takes the win from David Grady and Nick Bowers in third place. Ed Cockle fourth from Mike Bushell. Then it's Matt Foley in sixth. Seventh place Matthew Parr from Ian Wilson. Then Lee Napolitano and Andrew Wilmot in 10th. Joanne Eason 11th ahead of Ian Fletcher. Nick Pope 13th from Al Daly. Then it was Graham Field. Terence Upton 16th ahead of Steve Patworth. Ewan Wilson in 18th and Stuart Wilson 19th.
Jason Cooper, a fantastic first race here at Donington Park this morning. Talk us through it.
Well, it started raining just before the start of the race, and it was a bit of a gamble on what tyres to go on. It wasn't quite wet enough to go for full wets, so I stayed on the slicks. It was drizzling before the start of the race, and I had a reasonable initial getaway, but when I grabbed second, I had loads of wheel spin. And I actually dropped down to fourth going into the first corner. I was stuck on the outside. Managed to get third back going down Craner Curves on the first lap, and on the back of Harry Cockhill, which a couple of laps in, he managed to get past David Grady at Old Hairpin. David made a small mistake going in. I managed to follow Harry through, and then stayed on the back of Harry until he started making a few mistakes. I managed to take the advantage and get through. And then it was really just pacing myself and monitoring the gap, and managed to pull away and get the win.
David Grady, let's have a talk about the first race here at Donington, because there was so much going on. You probably can't even remember half of it yourself, can you?
No, it was a very busy race, certainly in terms of race action. It's a shame that my 4-race win run had to come to an end, but Jason drove well, and I didn't need to risk everything to get a win, because I've already got a nice championship lead at the moment. So yeah, it's a good haul of points, and I look forward to the next race.
With the weather conditions the way that they are, did you have to make any adjustments before the race? Because it looked like there was a lot of work going on your car before you went out of the collecting area.
Obviously, yeah, the decision to choose the slick tyres was a big sort of moment, and then we also did some work to soften off the car a little bit. That gives you a little bit more grip in the wet. But apart from that, it's more or less the same as it was yesterday in the dry qualifying session.
And if with the weather the way that it is, it looks like this rain's going to stay for the afternoon. Are you going to do any more work on the car for this afternoon's race, or are you happy with the way that you've got it set up?
We can go further with the setup towards the wet, but we'll have to wait and see how the weather changes, if it does at all.
Okay, thank you very much.
The club, an amateur racer. Here at Go Racing TV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
Andy Wilmot, great qualifying yesterday, but race probably not quite so good.
No, I had a bad one. I got a good start, really good start. After a couple of laps, I just scared myself. to be honest. On 4 slicks and in the rain. I'm not so hot in the rain anyway, and I just sort of held back a bit and just wanted to get some points, bring the car home in one piece, to be fair. But I was happy with my qualifying and I was happy with my start, but I just couldn't get enough heat in the tyres and just lost it really.
How difficult is it out there on slicks in conditions like this?
I find it really hard, to be honest. Karting boys probably they've got a bit of an edge, but myself I'm not really a lover of the rain, so I find it quite difficult, to be honest. It would have been better if I had just wets on the rear and slicks on the front, then I probably would have been able to hold a few more places, but to be honest I think I've got 10th and I'm happy with that, got some points.
Much to do on the car for this afternoon's race if the weather stays like this?
Yeah, change the tyres.
Not going to do anything to the suspension at all? Is it just going to be a tyre change?
To be honest, I'm probably going to ask for it to be softened up a little bit at the back. It's all new really, because we haven't done too much wet testing. Last time we done a bit of wet testing it was slicks, and then it dried up pretty soon, so see what happens really.
Fingers crossed, and we wish you the best of luck for this afternoon.
Thanks very much.
Cars coming out onto the grid for race 2 for the Class C Fiestas here at Donington, and pole position Jason Cooper, David Grady alongside with Nick Bowers and Ed Cockhill on row 2, third row Mike Bushell and Matt Foley. On row 4 Matthew Parr and Ian Wilson, then it's Lee Napolitano and Andrew Wilmot with Joanne Eason and Ian Fletcher on row 6. Nick Pope and Al Daly row 7, Graham Field and Terence Upton row 8, Steve Papworth and Ewan Wilson next from Stuart Wilson and Harry Cockhill. David Abbott and Chris Tomazis with Rex Nye 23rd. Well, that's how they should line up, but I can tell you sadly we've lost Harry Cockhill from the mix. His car very badly damaged, as you saw, with that big off in race 1. So it's a 22 car field that lines up, and there in the silver car with the Wise Owl number plate on the back is number 3, David Abbott, the 59-year-old from Godstone, running second in the category for the older drivers. 5-second board goes out. We wait for the 4 lights. Jason Cooper on pole. On his outside is David Grady, the championship leader. Away they go. Looks like a good start from everybody in the mix. David Grady makes a blinder though, and he's in front of Jason Cooper already. Up into 3rd place, challenging for 3rd is 29 Ed Cockhill. There's no room for him to squeeze. Well, there is now between Jason Cooper. Getting it sideways there is Ian Wilson. Good save by Ian, but it forces one car off onto the grass. That could have been nasty, but it was a good save by Ian Wilson in the WDE Motorsport car. This is the moment we all tend to dread when they come down through the Craner curves for the first time. If Redgate doesn't get you... Oh, and Joanne Eason getting it sideways. The young lady racer from Lyd in Kent gets it sideways. This car's off in avoidance. I think everybody largely has got through unscathed. There is Ewan Wilson in car 15. He probably had a good view of that. This is the onboard from Joanne's car. Al Daly and Graham Field right behind her. And I think there was a little bit of contact with Ian Fletcher, maybe just a little bit of a rub. Well, Joanne doesn't seem to be sideways at this point, so I don't think it's that did it. Maybe she carried too much momentum. Oh, there was a bang as Fletcher went in. That's going to require a little bit of clearing up. Bodywork over the circuit. So Joanne Eason, I wonder if she'll be able to get going again after that. It was a heavy hit. This is the view from Ian Wilson's car. As we look back, oh dear, Ian Wilson into the gravel. Not good for Ian. No, he's making progress here. If he can do it slowly, he might be able to get out of the gravel. Trick is to just try and do it slowly. Is he? No, he's not. He's stuck. That, I think, is going to require a safety car to retrieve him from the gravel. Here comes David Grady, meanwhile, race leader from Jason Cooper. 3rd position is Ed Cockhill. Nick Bowers is a long, long way back. Where is Nick Bowers? He was 3rd on the grid. Quite a way back, so he has lost position. Cooper starting to put pressure on Grady. Cockhill in 3rd place. Then it's Matt Parr. Beg your pardon, it's Mike Bushell in 4th position. Car number 4, appropriately. Stationary yellow flags there as they go into Hollywood, and that means no overtaking at this point because there are still cars, probably drivers extricating themselves from cars as well. So the lead bunch certainly behaving themselves. They go down through the curves and the old hairpin under Starkey's Bridge. There you can see Joanne Eason's car is out of harm's way. Joe needs to get behind the tyre wall. The marshals are on, and more problems. Over goes Rex Nye. Rex Nye in the mix. Oh dear, he started off the back of the grid. He was working his way through the field, and the gravel catches Rex Nye out. The other car involved is Chris Tomazas, car number 9. And this is always a worrying moment. Let's hope Rex is, well, he's got the door open. That's a very encouraging sign that he is okay. Here's what happened. He's in the gravel, boot lid up. And you can see if you catch the gravel at the wrong angle sideways on, the cars dig in and flip over. And that will definitely bring the safety car out now. The other 2 cars were out of the way. But that car there is going to require some attention. It may even be a red flag. So Rex Nye's car started at the back of the grid. Bit of disappointment for Rex. Comes from Horsham, entered by his dad's company, DW9 Builders. David, of course, a former front runner in this championship. The lead cars, of course, don't know that there's anything amiss down there. I can't see any yellow flags out just yet. As David Grady continues to lead from Jason Cooper, they'll know there were yellow flags down there. There's the yellow flag now at the start-finish line. There's the safety car, which comes out and will pace the entire field down to a safe speed so that the marshals can work on the car. Now, you're probably wondering why we have a safety car. Wherever possible, the decisions that the clerks of the course have to make is, do you put the safety car out and slow everybody down, or do you stop the race? If you stop the race with these timed races that the Fiestas have, they have 20 minutes of track time per race. If you stop the race, then there's a bit of a problem, because you've got the formalities of the countdown of starting a new race, the green flag lap, the getting the cars into line, and then the countdown. But if you run the safety car, you don't have to go through all that, and it saves meeting time, race meeting time. It means potentially that we get everybody's race, everybody gets the same amount of time during a race day. Chris Tomazas is okay, just looking at the damage. Pushes the door to, and the marshals will have a consolatory word with him. Marshals do such a wonderful job, and they're waiting for a rescue vehicle to get Rex Nye's car back on its wheels. There's car number 39, Stuart Wilson, who gets a good look at that. Joanne Easton's car, a little bit of a littered battlefield at the moment in this Fiesta race, but David Grady it is that leads. Jason Cooper weaving around to get a bit of heat into his racing tyres. So I think we're getting ready to go racing again. The pace car pulls into pit lane and we're about to resume. Big thanks to the marshals for clearing up for us. And we're back to business with David Grady leading. Jason Cooper in second position. Third place is Ed Cockle. Pulling out of the slipstream there is Matthew Foley in 82. Looks like he's going to try and make a manoeuvre around the outside. Foley certainly going for the racing line. Matt Parr down behind him. Ahead of them it's Mike Bushell in car number 4. Then it's Lee Napolitano, car number 24. Nick Bowers further back than he was in race 1. I guess he'll be glad to have escaped without damage that we've seen from some of the other cars, but David Grady leads then from Jason Cooper. Grady looking much, much happier in this drier race. If we look at have to have a look at the lap times a little bit later on to see how they compare race on race. But conditions a lot more suited now to Grady by the looks of things, but he's coming under pressure as they go up into McLean's corner from Jason Cooper in second position. Leicestershire man being chased by Wiltshire man, with Sussex-based driver in third position at the moment. There are the waved green flags again, just to confirm that this is the first lap of action since that rollover for Rex Nye. We're being told that Rex is okay. The car very clearly will need a bit of remedial work. Through goes Ed Cockle in third place, followed by Mike Bushell in car number 4, the white car with the green stripes. Then down behind him it's Matthew Parr, the first of the blue cars, coming under pressure from Matt Foley. Side by side they go. Foley Sorry, Parr is in position, goes wide. Matt Foley's going to return the compliment down the inside. Matthew Foley, the driver from Merthyr Tydfil, raced in the 750 Motor Club in the Stock Hatch Championship. Going back, Citroen Saxo, I think the car raced there, which I'm guessing he might have used in the Teenage Sax Max Championship as well, memory serves. Apologies if I got that wrong. But back up the sharp end, it's still David Grady coming under pressure from Cooper. Ed Cockle in third place. Fourth position, Mike Bushell. And then we've got the two Matts. Foley leading Parr at the moment. So the Welshman hangs on. You can see Matt Parr really right on his tailgate and trying to look to find a way through. These cars, of course, all very, very evenly matched. And if you think about the upward career steps that most of these drivers are going to want to take, perhaps towards British touring cars. When you watch the British Touring Car Championship, although the cars are built to a set of standard specifications, all the cars are different in touring cars, different shapes, different engines in some cases, but this is a much more level playing field, and it gives us some superb racing as we're seeing here. Cat and mouse being played by Grady and Cooper. Grady looking for win number 5. Fastest lap in race 1 went the way of Ed Cockle, who's in third position. So that's a major scalp for him. And bragging rights as far as the Cockle brothers go. And we'll go to Ed Cockle.
Hi there, I'm Tom Natcher, and this is Greg Kramer. We're called the old bastards of racing in many circles. You know, I guess we met back in the late 1980s.
Easy. It had to be at least that far back. Glory day of some racing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Trans Am was a part of the picture, and actually I learned to do pro announcing from this man around the Trans Am Championship. Oh, that is a long time ago.
A very long time ago, but I'll tell you what, you take a look at Trans Am racing in the early 90s in particular, the names that were running at that time. But the other side of the story was World Challenge was really starting to come alive at that point. And the names in that, there were sometimes you'd look at the two rosters and go, you know, I'm not sure which one is the most talent. Some amazing stuff from those decades past. And of course, a lot of those drivers also doubling up, running amateur racing in the runoffs. And it was spectacular stuff.
Now, Go Racing TV has got all of that action, Trans Am World Challenge, and even some runoff material, all coming up over the next season. That's going to be something to watch.
I know, to be able to relive those 2 decades of motorsports from the Sports Car Club of America's Pro Racing Department, Trans Am World Challenge, and then you include the National Amateur Championships, the runoff, the intense battles that unfolded there. It simply doesn't get any better than that, and it lives again right here on GoRacingTV.com.
Because I need to spend more time in front of my computer.
This is the view from Ian Wilson, who leads the category for the older drivers. Graham Field coming up to have a go at him, the number 13 car. Graham comes from Southall in the John Harrison Group.co.uk machine. Looking at the inside line in car number 13, under Stark is, and putting Ian Wilson under quite a bit of pressure is Graham Field. Now goes to the outside line to take the optimum line through McLean's corner. He's going to look down the inside. Oh, and they're both going through on the inside of David Abbott. That's significant because that's effectively a class-taking move there. Ian Wilson passing his fellow elder driver David Abbott in car number 3, and he's got a bit of space between himself and Abbott now as well. So that's great news for Ian Wilson. Ian looking calm and collected in driving position, exactly what you want. Now look at this battle for 4th position. Mike Bushell. Matthew Parr behind him in 33. Then it's 82, Matt Foley. Andrew Wilmot coming up to join in as well in the second blue car. Then it's Lee Napolitano, followed by Nick Bowers. Bowers keeping a watching brief of that quintet of cars. And Bushell hanging on to it at the moment. Great manoeuvre down at the old hairpin by Matt Parr. Took his opportunity superbly, but he's got a little bit too much on the exit there. Well, you've got to say hats off to Matt Parr for having a go down the inside at the old hairpin. You've got to be brave to do that. He's lost a couple of places, but it's still Mike Bushell in car number 4 coming up to challenge him. He's 82. Matthew Foley, who gets it a little bit sideways, hangs on to position. Nick Bowers now has got ahead of Andrew Wilmot, so Bowers on the offensive. He's passed one car and he wants another podium. Let's see what he can do about Matt Parr that's in front of him. Parr busy having a look at Lee Napolitano in front of him. Those two, of course, diced hard in the first race. Wilmot's going to return the compliment here and look up the inside of Nick Bowers. Surely he's got the line into the Fogarty S's. Yes, he has. Bowers cedes that position and will come back and have another go on another lap. But this is an enthralling Class C battle, and we need to keep our eyes on the lead as well, because Jason Cooper is all over the back of David Grady and determined to make it a double here this weekend. Ed Cockhill can't seem to do anything about these two guys in the drive for sure. I was going to talk about lap times. Fastest lap of the race in race 1 was Ed Cockhill, car number 29, a 1 minute 27.4. The lap times in this one are in the 1:22s. So this race clearly circuit virtually ideal. We're back where we were in terms of the qualifying times yesterday, where David Grady scored the best qualifying time of 1 minute 22.818, and that's why we've got Grady out front. It was Cooper who qualified second yesterday. Andrew Wilmot was third on the grid, so that's why he's looking a little bit happier, I think, with the dry conditions today. And Matt Parr, like Grady and Cooper, seems to be very happy with wet or dry conditions. Always an interesting measure to see how drivers adapt to the wet, how well they perform in the wet. Nick Bowers, for my money, was one of the stars of yesterday's race, getting that podium. But he qualified well in the dry, Nick Bowers. Let's not take that away from him. He was 5th in the dry. And, well, perhaps enough talk about yesterday's qualifying and race 1 earlier today, because David Grady has got back to that top step of the podium, and he's got just under 2 miles to hang on to secure his 5th win of the 2011 season from Jason Cooper, whose season finally seems to be coming good here at our 3rd event of the year. He will be looking forward to Brands Hatch, I feel sure, which is the next round, the 4th event of the championship. And do join us if you can at Brands Hatch for that one, which takes place in June. But Cooper now through the Schwantz curves. Let's see whether he can make a manoeuvre here on Grady. Is it going to be a last lap for Cooper? Can't do anything there through McLean's. Maybe Cooper is going to settle for the points. I don't think he will. Out of McLean's, down towards Coppice Corner for the last time. Grady inch perfect in this race he's been, and really you've got to say it was the start that got him that. He's been hounded by Cooper all the way, but just the way the Leicestershire man got it off the line in race 2 here was enough to get him into that lead. And they're still following each other. Is Cooper going to have a lunge down the inside? He's got to start making his move soon if he's going to do that. No, he isn't. He's just going to hound Grady, who comes out of the Fogarty S's in lead position and is going to take win number 5 of the 2011 championship. There is the checkered flag. Grady wins. Cooper in 2nd place. Ed Cockhill from 8th on the grid of race 1 comes up for 3rd position. He's on the podium again. So he's going to be the leading Cockhill brother in the championship. Fantastic stuff for him. 4th position, Mike Bushell just gets the better of Matt Foley ahead of Lee Napolitano. 82, Matthew Foley, in 6th position from Lee Napolitano. Then Andrew Wilmot. Nick Bowers comes across the line next, and there is Ian Wilson crossing the line ahead of Nick Pope and Steve Patworth. Al Daly, David Abbott coming across the line, and Graham Field in the orange car. Graham coming home in 15th position. Then the last couple of runners, Stuart Wilson in 16th position, coming up across the line now. So 5 wins out of 6 for Grady, with Jason Cooper in 2nd place and Ed Cockhill 3rd. Mike Bushell 4th from Matt Parr and Matt Foley in 6th position. 7th place goes to Lee Napolitano from Andrew Wilmot, with Nick Bowers in 9th. Ian Wilson 10th from Nicholas Pope. Then Steve Patworth in 12th place. 13th goes to Al Daly from David Abbott. Graham Field in 15th, ahead of Stewart and Ewan Wilson. The Class C positions look like this. David Grady leads the championship from Ed Cockhill. Jason Cooper up to third with Matt Foley next, ahead of Matt Parr and Harry Cockhill in sixth. Mike Bushell is seventh from Lee Napolitano. Ashley Sutton next from Ian Wilson, Andrew Wilmot and Nick Bowers.
They had a great race out there in race 2. A fantastic start, and then of course having to defend on the restart as well.
Yeah, exactly. Jason kept me very honest throughout the race, and he was on my bumper literally for the whole race distance, and I had to keep my eyes very much in the mirrors to sort of fend off any potential lunges. Fortunately for me, he didn't get into a position where he could do that, so yeah, I'm really happy with the win. This is my home circuit, and I really didn't want to leave here without at least one win.
Great result for you, building upon the 4 class wins you've already had so far this year. That's making you strong in the championship, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've not looked at the points yet, but certainly after this race we are going to have a nice cushion now until the next round at Brands. So yeah, it's a good way to go into the Brands race.
Are you looking forward to Brands Hatch?
Yeah, it's a good circuit, and a circuit I always go well at. So it's a driver's circuit, which I enjoy it a lot. So it's going to be good, I think.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on your win, and we look forward to seeing you at Brands Hatch.
Thank you.
Jason, lots of action out there in the second race at Donington Park. Talk us through it.
I started on pole, where I finished in the first race, but I didn't have quite a good start in this one, and David managed to get me on the run down to the first corner. Luckily, Edward didn't get past. I managed to hold on to second, and then me and David managed to make a break, but then there was an accident at the Crane of Curves, and the safety car came out, which got the pack back on us. On the restart, David had a good restart, and I managed to stay with him, but Edward was having to defend from the other cars behind, which meant that me and Dave could have get a break and get away from the pack. I managed to keep him quite honest, but I didn't quite have the pace to get him today.
Certainly very close after the restart. Every lap you were a length, if not less than, going over the start-finish line, so it was certainly very close. Going forward, does this give you a bit more confidence going to the next round?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've had a pretty rubbish start to the year so far. I've had a couple of incidents, and I haven't had the results that I really wanted to get. So this is a good meeting to build on, and hopefully going forward now, especially Brands Hatch I've been to before. So that's the first track that we're going to this year that I've been to before. So yeah, looking forward to that one.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations once again. First and second today. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Ed, third in race 2. A fantastic result for you after what happened this morning. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was a good race. It was a bit of a lonely race, to be honest with you. I couldn't quite keep with Grady and Cooper, but I just rolled around in third, and I thought I had it kind of secured for the race, but then the safety car came out. I managed to back them all up at the first corner and kind of get away from them again, but I just couldn't live with the front two.
You certainly look like you were having to defend quite well at the restart, because you had a couple of guys behind you that were tailgating you going into Redgate. Was that difficult?
Yeah, it was a bit of a plan as well, because I knew they were right up my backside basically. So I thought if I back them up going into the first corner, maybe they will have a bit of a bump and a grind, and I'll be able to kind of just get my foot down and get away from them. And it all went to plan really, but yeah, that's good.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on your third place. We're going to Brands Hatch next. Track that you know quite well and did very well at last year. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, it was one of my locals, so I'll be able to go and stay at home, so it'll be quite nice to stay in my own bed. It'll be fantastic. But yeah, we are looking forward to it. Going to do a bit of testing and hopefully get the cars back up and sorted. Obviously, Harry's got to get a new car, but yeah, so looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations once again, and we'll see you at Brands Hatch.
Lovely. Cheers, Lloyd. Thank you.
Well, there we go. 2 great races from Donington Park for Class C in the Competition Car Insurance Ford Fiesta Championship. Hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.